and I think presidential leaders have an opportunity to turn down the heat. But to your point, people that have a flawed worldview platform end up downstream in the lake of hate and bitterness, and that's what you're seeing.
Adam, what are you thinking?
So I just want to kind of give a couple thoughts. Here's an article I want to talk about. The Democrats are the extremists today. So I'm in Miami, and I'm having a conversation with these three girls that are in town from D.C., and I say, oh, D.C., it turns out they work for John Fetterman. And we ended up having a conversation. I go, Fetterman, he's actually like a more conservative Democrat. It's interesting to see his positions. She goes, well, yeah, I'm actually from West Virginia. I go, Joe Manchin, that's my guy. We started having this conversation. I said, I used to be more of a Democrat, and then I saw how insane the Democratic Party became, and I could no longer support that, and I'm one of the staunch advocates of the MAGA movement at this point, America First, because it's just common sense. She goes, how could you say something like that? MAGA are the extremists. I go, really? If I showed you data that would disprove your argument, would you believe me? She goes, depends where the data is from. I go, well, Pew, Quinnipiac, these are pretty reputable sources here. I said, Republicans and Democrats 20 years ago used to be right here, right here. I go, where do you think Republicans have moved? Where do you think of Democrats? She goes, Republicans, MAGA, they're over here now. Democrats, maybe they're going to left. I go, it's exactly the opposite. Republicans, I don't know if you could show this. There's a chart there. There's a graph. Republicans have moved a little bit further to the right in that article, Rob. Republicans have moved over a little further to the right. By the way, this is from 2017. It has gone even further. Democrats have gone so far to the left, their party is completely unrecognizable. So you have an average person. This is the backbone of what Charlie was talking about. When he would go to colleges, and we had a conversation with him at Turning Point, I said young men in high school and in college are becoming way more conservative because they see what's going on here. So to the extremists' point of view out there, there's only one party that has become completely extreme, and as the party that has no idea the difference between a man and a woman, is the party that has open borders. It is the party of chaos at this point.
Adam, great point, and if you don't mind, I have to. It's when you take out God, okay? And let's be real. Charlie was his biggest thing was God and Jesus Christ, okay? And there's no in the middle, guys. There's no more, I'm kind of on the fence, Jesus. No, either you're here and you believe in God and you believe Jesus Christ, or you're over here. There's no in between, okay? And that's the freaking war that we're in right now. This is the battle that we're talking about. And you named it, Adam. And yesterday, how many people did me and you talk to? Well, I'm talking to people, and some of them were kind of leaning, middle, little left. And I'm like, tell me what that side stands for, okay? Just please give me something that if you were running on, what would it be? Because from what I see it, the majority is they're pro-abortion, they're celebrating assassination. Okay, if you're a kid, they will happily give hormones and all that crap to mess up with their freaking bodies to make money. They're pro-open border. They're weaponized the Department of Justice. They don't give give me something. Please give me something that these people are about. And once you take out God, they've been fighting for this whole time to take out God. And then when somebody gets murdered, they're celebrating it. So which party is that? Which side? If the devil came right now and had to pick a Republican or Democrat, which one would it be?
They don't have an anchor. They don't have a foundation. They don't have a worldview that is based in an undeniable and unmoving truth. They don't have that. They are looking for victory.
of. There's another clip of the gentleman that was standing behind Charlie Kirk. Okay, there's a gentleman standing behind Charlie Kirk. Rob, if you can do the one I gave you with the one that's the one right there. Yes, watch this. So watch the man in the back with the hand signals. Actually, no, not this clip, Rob. It's the one that says what it means. This is the one I'm going to send you because those are military signals.
Yeah, shooting range training signals, right?
Yeah, I just sent you this one, Rob. If you can play this one here, just watch this. Okay, and again, we're not going to be playing the clip of how he got shot, the blood. If you've seen it, you've seen it. And if you're like, Adam, going and showing it to everybody around you, here's this clip. Watch this one here and watch the man in the back with the phone. Watch him very closely.
The military are a little bit aware of hand signals being thrown
Watch this.
up. And these two men need to really be looked into.
Sniper.
With some of the sniper-looking signals, especially coming from the guy in the white and the guy in the black.
Okay. Touching the side of the face in military context, often rubbing the cheeks, a hand signal to indicate. Go back, Rob. Let me read that whole thing. Indicate. Go back, Rob. Indicate the presence of male individual. Defense. Some users suggesting touching the chest and again, female. Okay, keep going. Yeah. It's explaining. A single hand level from the body, put the palm down or moving in horizontal repeat means commence firing. Wow. When executed rapidly, it means to increase the rate of fire. When executed slowly, it means to decrease the rate of fire. Okay, keep it going. Huh. Interesting. What's the next thing? The left arm crossing the torso, military hand signal to indicate imminent danger. Or the torso are different depending on the context of military. The most common interpretation of imminent danger, signal rest. Crossing the hand or arms repeatedly across the chest. Keep going, Rob. Now, this could be a couple different things. First place that your mind goes to is he's telling the shooter to take the shot.
Go for it.
That's one.
Boom.
Let's just say.
Yeah, let's just say.
But the other thing could be. What? The other thing could be this, guys. Let me tell you, the guy in the black is also. Because they're speaking to each other the entire time. See, these are all signals.
What are those signals?
So this is what. By the way, it happens literally a second after this. So
1 second.
don't. So to me, what are the chance? Because it's not hard to investigate who those two people are: the guy in the white and the guy in the black. No. We have to find out and have the conversations with them. But to me, the question I got is maybe they found out someone's up top. It could either be that, hey, there's danger and they don't want to overreact and they're talking to one another. Can somebody go see what's going on over there? But that doesn't make sense because nobody moved in that direction. And in an instance like that, if you see any kind of threat, the job of your protection, you don't tell them what to do. Their job is to jump and take you out because they're not going to, even if there's a slight chance of risk, they have to take you outside to protect you. That's what they're going to be doing. You're not going to be waiting on me. You're going to be like, we got to roll. It's not going to be like, no, not right now. Let me finish my speech. No, man, you hired me for this job. Fine. Boom, pulling you, we're running, right?
Immediately.
Smother and cover and then run.
If you notice a threat, you jump on
Yeah,
Charlie.
so I don't think that's what it is. So I'm just trying to speculate. I think, to me, it gives me more of a vibe of 80-20, dirtiness than it does for something that we're doing to protect.
You're saying that based on your probability, you're giving it an inside job.
Let me tell you, if I'm running the FBI, I want to talk to that guy myself.
Hell yeah.
I don't want my guys to talk to him. I want to talk to him. I want to talk to those guys. And it could be as simple of an answer that they'll explain. And remember, our whole system is what? Innocent until proven guilty. But what are those hand signals? I don't know.
And can I say one thing too, Pat? We have to understand, like, whoever this suspect is, whoever Tyler is, whatever his background is, and me and Mike were talking about this earlier. You have to understand whatever this plan was, whatever this operation was, they had to know. Number one, Charlie was going to be there. They had to know the schedule, number one. Number two, you have to know where he was going to be. And that advantage point, shooting from high to low, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. That's the easiest way. So this kid, who I highly doubt, had all this information and all this tactical knowledge to find out, Adam, the timing, where, what time. This is a big campus. How'd you know they were going to be right there? Okay? And then this goes on the security. You're having this guy sit in the middle of a wide open area, and this is where I think, like, you underestimated the enemy. You underestimated that Charlie, and mind you, and because of all these older videos, you know how many situations where I've seen where Charlie's just sitting there and just all open rooftops. And I understand he's not the president of the United States, but when you speak the truth, you become the enemy to these people. And then this is what happens. So I agree with you, Pat. There's a bunch of layers to get to this. If they leaked information, if they knew, same thing with Butler. Same thing with Butler. You have the ex-president who's trying to be the president again out there in the open, and then all Secret Service, the only thing that happened was Kim Cheadle got fired. That's it. Everybody else got a slap on the wrist. Even if he was, God forbid, murdered and assassinated, that's all they would have said. Hey, we didn't do our job right.
Here's the question, though, Tom. You said something very interesting before we went live, and I think it's important for you to share with them. So watch the system. We have the shooter. You take him in. Here's who he is. Because who do you think needs the temperature to be lowered more than, who do you think wants the temperature to be lowered more than anybody
president.
else? Okay. So you take him in. Then what do you walk him through? The system of what happens. If this doesn't happen, and we actually are able to interview the shooter and know more about him, then that means there wasn't any dirty work, right? Tom, you were saying something earlier.
Yeah, Cooks was shot on the roof. We don't even know if he was the real shooter in Pennsylvania.
And they cleaned up the
And the
mess.
next day they had their garden hoses out on the roof, because they're going to plant some stuff up there.
Yeah.
And then you remember Oswald's not press conference, but when they were talking about, hey, he's arrested, he's here, this is what's going on. You had a federal agent from the back of the room calling forward, interrupting, and clarifying the organization that Oswald was allegedly a part of. So we can go back and see so much about Oswald, Patsy, trained by the CIA, working with the CIA. You see it all now in the stuff that's come out. We don't have to say allegedly anymore because we have so much of the stuff there, and we're not Oliver Stone making a conspiracy movie. There are so many things that suddenly are there. So I want to see what happens to this guy, and if he was. So now I'm going to go pure speculation. If those guys are feds, and he was identified, trained, and used by the feds, then who called the hit on a future president of the United States that had the ability through his organization and his voice to move elections? Who doesn't want those elections moved? The core establishment? But I want to see, back to Pat's question, I want to see what happens. What do we get to see? Tim McVeigh, we got to learn a lot about him. A lot about, correct. We learned a lot about him. And there was a lot of things that got uncovered. Now we're living in a whole different world now of available information and the ability to research. But I, like Pat, I want to see what happens with this guy. Does he hang himself in prison? That would never happen to a suspect of a wide-ranging crime. Oh, wait. So what happens to him? Where do we go and what do we see? Or is this something odd happens and it's quickly cleaned up like Crooks?
Yeah, I mean, when I was on Jesse a couple nights ago, I said, look, respectfully, we don't even know anything about the President Trump shooter. What do we know about it? So we have to kind of start getting answers. We're not getting answers. I want answers about COVID. If China released that, what do we know about this guy? What was the motive? We know nothing there. 3, this right here went with Charlie Kirk, the MLK of the conservative youth movement today. He is the equivalent of MLK. You can say whatever. Some could even say he's bigger than MLK because of social media, because of what's going on with social media and how messages go viral. He is probably more famous today with his impact worldwide than MLK was in America, because MLK wasn't having his clips going viral worldwide. That did not exist back then. Today he does. So as much as some people may not like it, Charlie's more famous than MLK was at his peak when he passed away. This is not a competitive message. They're at the same level, the impact. So we have to find out what happens to this guy. We have to find out what the motive behind it was. Because why? Okay, worst case, I pray for this not to happen, but it's my biggest concern. If right now, you know how before pandemic,
4-minute warning.
I land at Beverly Hills Hilton. I'm with my family. I'm going to take them to Universal. One by one, board members start canceling the meeting. Why? Because of COVID. Up until that point, I didn't know how serious it was. And then all of a sudden, the whole thing shut down. Then it became non-essential, essential, no NBA, no NHL, all the parks, all the this, all the that. The world changed, right? What happens if all of a sudden, in the next 7 days, 2 weeks, the equivalent of an AOC on the opposing side is taken out? What do you think happens? Martial law? Hey, Vinny, where are you? Well, guys, I can't do anything. We're doing podcasts from the house. How's your internet at your house? I can't get out. They're not letting me get out. It's curfew. For what? Imagine if riots get so nasty in the streets in all metropolitan cities. What does America look like? Who would want that? Who? What happened with protesting and riots under Trump first time around? How bad were they? Do you remember the BLM riots?
Oh, man.
You don't think they want that again? You don't think they're smart enough and divisive enough to find different methods? I don't know. But the way I'm going to next and what I'd want to talk about next before we transition to a couple of the other stories, because there's so much to be learned about things that's going on here with Charlie, is this. Who is behind it? Okay? Speculation. Everything is allegedly. Who is behind it? If this is just a kid, there was a video there's a video that's going viral saying this is the guy that Charlie Kirk was debating who is the possible killer, the Rob. Do you know which one I'm talking about? There's a clip of a guy that Charlie, oh, right there, that's the guy. Right there, Rob. Right there. Can you zoom into that one?
I don't, yeah, let me look
So
at the photo.
it doesn't look like him.
No.
But some are saying this could be the guy. Go ahead.
Hey, this guy just lies. Hey, no. He's a liar.
So, okay.
He can't debate. He just
Okay,
lies.
so let's just
What, you
calm
don't
down
like
a little
freedom
bit.
of
So
speech?
watch the pause.
Well, I mean, you could say whatever you want if you want to make a fool of yourself, but we do have like 10-year-olds here and 11-year-olds, so
I
can we
don't
have some
care.
decency?
Whatever.
Okay, you don't care. You're a typical leftist because you only care about yourself,
Who said I was
not
a
about
leftist?
the other people.
Who said I was a leftist?
Pause on his
Well,
face.
Look at that
Pause on his
evil,
face,
bro.
Rob.
Hey, this guy.
Yeah. So that guy, and then you see the picture to the right with the glasses on. Okay, that's the guy that's walking around. And then we have Tyler Robinson. If you go to Tyler
Yeah,
Robinson,
good point.
okay,
Huh.
is it the same guy?
It
The
doesn't.
Tyler Robinson picture? Okay. We don't know if
Yeah.
it's the same
Where's the
guy.
picture?
Some are saying yes, some are saying no. But to me, it's the following. If it's just a guy who got up, was able to shoot from 200 yards away, and then he gets him, he's dead, gets off the rooftop, walks out, and disappears like Kaiser Sose? Is it just a guy that was upset? Is it just a leftist that hates Charlie? Was it a motive? Was it funded by somebody? Was it just increasing the temperature? What is your speculation of what you think happened?
He wrote, allegedly, the words on the bullet casing trans and
Yeah, which to me,
and fascism.
yeah, I think, which I
and
think,
and we were discussing
Let's
this
be
in the
careful
car,
here.
right?
I think, can we look this up? Because I know what you're talking about, and I'm not contradicting you. This morning, there was a report that there was no rifle in the woods, and there were no bullet casing, that was a erroneous report. Rob, if you can help us. So I want to make sure that we don't, like, repeat something that this morning, you know what I mean, Pat, got already
yeah.
set aside.
Well, because I think I love the question because it's like who's going to benefit? Who's gaining from this? Okay, who's gaining? Because Charlie's voice was so impactful, and guess what? To me, this is my opinion, they assassinated this kid or whoever was behind it, the 2032 president of the United States. That's where my mind, where I was at, Pat. But if you think about it, MK Ultra, when you talk about these operations from the CIA and all this stuff as if they didn't exist in the 50s and 70s, they focus on mind control experiments. I'm not making this up. This isn't some crazy, kooky idea that I'm coming up with. They used LSD. They grabbed younger people like this and they brainwashed them into becoming assassins, shooting, and then all of a sudden they snap out of it. They don't know what they are. They don't know what the hell is going on. They're completely lost. You know what I mean? Just like when Tom, who's the guy?
It's the whole Jason Bourne depiction.
Exactly, but the thing
that's
is,
a depiction. That's
yeah.
a movie. That's Hollywood. But it comes from apparently the playbook of creating an intelligence asset.
Exactly. So, and here's the thing: the George Soroses, all these people. And again, this is clearly speculation. Who would benefit from this type of action? Who would benefit from not only killing one of the leading voices that's like pushing the youth, that's making? I remember me and Adam just showed me a video in the car. I don't know if you could send it to Rob. It's a conversation that he had with a trans girl that became a guy,
Kelly.
and he was such an awesome conversation where he's like, what's going on with me? What's happening? He's like, I want you to, I pray that you find the truth and somebody talks to you and find out what's going on in your head and not just pumping drugs into your body and changing you. And I hope it doesn't come to that, but we had this conversation yesterday. Isn't it weird, though, that the other side never gets no assassinations? They walk out in public. You see AOC, Penn, all these people, they walk out. There's no security. They're just out there. They're just out there because, in my opinion, that's their side. Their side isn't going to do anything to them. It's always us. It's always the voices that are preaching about love, about peace, about bringing us together. All of them from the history get shot or murdered.
Oh, and George Floyd is suddenly, not to interrupt you, but to add to what you're saying with emphasis, and George Floyd is depicted as an assassination. A man with a rap sheet, a man that was in the middle of committing another crime and had enough drugs in his system to throw a Hollywood birthday party. You've got, that's
right.
That's in the
You're right.
That's in the record. He was out of his mind, and the level of drugs that were there, and yet he's a symbol, and he's assassinated. Yeah. Really?
I want to touch on one thing because you guys have mentioned this. I firmly believe they just assassinated a future president of the United States, and 100%. I'm not downplaying that.
Oh,
we talk about having a bench, who's on the left, who's on the right. Charlie was at the top of the list, man. And I know you're angry. I know people are pissed. You know what I am? I'm sad, man. I'm sad for the movement. I'm sad for Charlie's family. I'm sad for his wife. I'm sad for his kid. I'm sad for America. You know, that day was super emotional. Vinny's the one, right as Tony Robbins took the stage, runs out. I'm sitting right there behind Vinny. I'm sitting with Dylan, Patrick's son. Jennifer's a couple seats over. Moral's in front of me. Tom's right there. Vinny says, Charlie just got shot. And runs off. I said, what? I'm with Dylan. Tony, we're front row, Tony. I'm focused on Tony. And Tony gives us a speech, and he says, you know the number one quality of a leader? The number one quality of a leader is that they have influence. Don't downplay the fact that people are influencers. Charlie had influence. He was an influencer. You influence people's thoughts. You've influenced people's emotions. You've influenced people's actions, good and bad. I'm there with Dylan. We're having a great time. And the whole time, I'm holding back my emotions, knowing that Charlie Kirk just got shot. And then text after text after text. This is what's going on. And then here's what happened. Pat took the stage. Super emotional. Pat cried. I see it in Vinny's eyes. He wears his heart on his sleeve. Tom's crying. Rob is crying. I'm the only person that didn't cry. And not because I wasn't sad. I was sort of numb. And you know what? I got back to my room that night. I've only cried 3 times in the last 5 years, I would say. The day that my girlfriend got cancer, the day that my dad died, and the day that Charlie Kirk died. And I was playing the song from Green Day, you know, another turning point of forks, Good Riddance. And I just started bawling, man. And I'm just so sad for everyone, and I'm sad for America, because this was a guy, we've spent so much time with Charlie, one of the best humans I've ever met. I don't know anything bad about him. And the fact that people on the left are mocking him and cheering for his death just shows how sick and twisted some people in America have become. It's just sad to me.
Yeah, it's and by the way, it's interesting you say that. To some people, it's going to hit them even later. when it sinks in and reality sinks in, and you never know when that's going to happen to you. But it is a sad situation, not just for you, many others as well. As you're going through this, you're wondering who would want to see something like this happen. One of the simplest things that you got to be thinking about is a leader. Your job of a leader is to try to control the temperature of a nation, of a company, of a family. You know, you're in the house, your kids, blah, 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 and they're fighting, bring it down, right? It's a little bit here, you bring it up. You control the temperature. Last week, this Ukrainian girl, okay, is on the subway. And all of a sudden, there's two clips, Rob. If you want to go through this, and if you have the Van Jones clip, and you know, if you know which ones I'm talking about, first play the clip of her. First play the clip of her not getting stabbed until when she's first getting moved by the guy that's just kind of shaking her up a little bit at first. So Trump wants death penalty for the Charlotte's murder suspect after what happened, okay? That picture to the right, okay? That's the girl.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At today's press conference, we will FBI Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake field office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community, because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family, because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you. thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here, and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country, and violence is tragic everywhere. And every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay. He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option.
But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet, all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. You know, this bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us. But I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last 2 nights. There was no rioting. There was no looting. There were no cars set on fire. There was no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes. Because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me. I'll just conclude with words I share often from a friend and author, Yuval Levin, who was asked if he was optimistic about our country. And he said, I'm not optimistic. He said, I hate optimism. Like, that sounds bad. But he said, optimism is a vice. It's this idea that good things are just going to happen. And he said, in the history of the world, good things have never just happened. He says, I'm not optimistic, but I am hopeful. And hope is the virtue that sits between the vices of optimism and pessimism. Hope is the idea that good things are going to happen because we can make them so. I still believe in our country. And I know Charlie Kirk believed in our country. I still believe that there is more good among us than evil. And I still believe that we can change the course of history. I'm hopeful because Americans can make it so. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Governor, can you please speak to whether the suspect is speaking with authorities and his demeanor, Tyler Robinson, when he turned himself in?
I cannot speak to that right now.
Governor, how do you interpret the agreement on casing?
Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not. And by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. That's I think that speaks for itself.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating.
Please.
Talked about this level of hatred that this person expressed in the dinner. Beyond that, is there anything in your view that you discovered that may have radicalized or changed him to prompt him to commit such a horrific?
There's nothing more that we can share at this time.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating with a friend on Discord about the gun. Do you anticipate any more arrests?
We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests.
Do you believe he acted alone?
Yes, but the investigation is ongoing.
How he came into custody of police and where he is right now?
Yes, so right now, Mr. Robinson has been booked into the Utah County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him in. Please, I'll go here. I can't share any more than what I've already shared. Yeah. So how we obtained the gun? The gun was found here. So I don't have much more details on that. We do know that he drove. We had his car here on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County.
Is he talking with authorities and did he discuss a motive?
I'm sorry? We don't have any information that would lead us to believe that. Yes, in fact, it was just released. Yes.
Talking with authorities and did he discuss a motive?
I can't answer that right now. Yeah, thank you. Over here. I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history. Yes. The question is, what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history, or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look, I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late 60s, and having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets. We are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral. This is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. That is happening, and it's happening organically right now. I had a friend in a small city in Utah who said, we're getting together, the Republicans and Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this could be, I mean, again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975, but I know that things were really dark in the late 60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there. But this is our moment. Do we escalate, or do we find an off-ramp? And again, it's a choice. It's a choice, and every one of us gets to make that choice. Two more questions right here.
Could we clarify that the release of those
those enhanced images at 8 p.m., the timeline that Director Patel gave us, led to the arrest at 10 p.m.? Is there a direct connection between those two events?
I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened.
One more thing, Governor. Could you just clarify the clothing issue you mentioned earlier? Was he changing outfits?
Correct. Yes, yes. So, so when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Last question here. Yes.
Suspect was freshly caught. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about where, and was he a student here at this university, and is there any history of mental illness?
Yeah. So. I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here at UVU. He was living and had lived for a long time with his family in Washington County, in the southernmost part of our state. Thank you, everyone, for your great work in getting this information out. I will just say, process-wise, this may be important. I know many of you aren't familiar with the process in Utah. I think it's important that you understand that basically we have 3 days for charging documents to be filed. A CI will be filed. We'll have more information then, more detailed information as those charging documents are filed in preparation for a preliminary hearing. So 3 days. So we would anticipate then that early next week those charging documents will be filed. We will obviously be working. The county attorney will be working very closely with Mr. Kirk's family as those documents and decisions are prepared and made. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so the suspect is in custody. Tyler Robinson, the mugshot on the screen right there. From the governor's office, thanks to credit to B&O News for letting me use their mugshot there. And we're going to take your comments on the air. I want to show you, I'm going to go back and just in a moment play the part where it was described, where the governor at the beginning gave information about that we got about how the suspect came to be in custody. Also, the writings on the on the gun and on the casings. Let me show you something about that. This right here is from, hang on a moment here. I'm going to show you what the writings were on the ammunition on the ammunition. Let me do that. Hang on. Right here. So you can see this is from B&O News. Sorry. B&O News did a nice summary of the writings on the ammunition. So I want to show you that. Fired casing, notices bulges, OWO, what's this? Oh, are they saying anything more? Okay. Yeah, the feed is, let's just do this. Unfired casings, hey fascist, catch, up arrow, right arrow, down arrow, down arrow, down arrow, oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, 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 and if you read this, you are gay, LMAO. What I want to do is, before we take your comments, I just want to go back and replay the part of the press conference where the governor basically gives the information about the person, about the evidence, about Discord messages that the person posted. So let me just do that right now to just clarify things a bit. And I'm going to put that on right now. I just want to go back and find that particular part here. And we'll show that to you, and then we'll take your comments. Oops, sorry. Ash Farm said... Hang I am pulling it up right now. Here it is. I'll have it for you right now once it starts playing. I need to cue it up. Okay, here it is. I'm going to replay the part of the press conference where the governor kind of goes over everything. There's this. There's this. There's this. Okay, here we go. This is the replay of what the governor said at the start of the press conference about the general information he gave out about the suspect.
Member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th. Worked together in...
Okay, and then before I take your comments, the last thing I want to do is just get right at the start when he talked about the family friend. What was that specific? How did that work with the family friend? Hold on, I'm going to do this. Just listen to the first 30 seconds again.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah...
So last night, a family member contacted a family friend and told, I think he means that the family member says to the family friend, hey, Tyler Robinson confessed to this. And then the family friend contacted authorities. The family member may have been the father. There's some reporting about this. I don't think he specified, though. So again, last night, a family member contacted a family friend. The family, as I understand it, the family member said, hey, Tyler Robinson confessed to this thing. And then the family friend contacted law enforcement. I'll play that again. It's just, I'm trying to follow the exact...
County Sheriff's Office committed office and reached out to a family friend who contacted... Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored...
Again, he said, last night a family member contacted a family friend. And from my interpretation of what the governor said is that the family member said that Tyler Robinson confessed. And then the family friend contacted authorities. This was last night. Okay. That's the, now, I don't know what's, somebody asked about the reward. I don't know how this works with the reward. Does the family member and the family friend get the $100,000 reward, up to $100,000? I have no idea. Anyways, by the way, on your screen right now, you are seeing the mugshot. This is the mugshot. The governor's office sent this out, thanks to B&O News, who letting me use their mugshot there. But that is from the governor's office. And also, speaking of B&O News, I do want to again show you guys, because they did a nice job over there of they have a post with the writings that are on the casings here. So let me show you this. Oops. The writings engraved on the ammunition. Oops, you can't see it. You'll see it in a second. There it is. Now, I am not fluent in the references to all this stuff. A lot of you guys probably get the references better than me. From what I understand, the Bella Ciao is a popular thing that's said on TikTok. But I am not in a position to start interpreting all of these things. I'll have to read up on this stuff. I know a lot of people in our chat probably get all this stuff. But anyways, those, the governor, hey, fascist catch certainly seems like, directed towards Charlie Kirk. Also, the governor did say, oh, the stuff about him becoming political and saying negative things about Charlie Kirk. Let me just play that for you right here.
Shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County, those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in that conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual.
So that's, if I have it right, the family member is saying that he had become more political, the suspect, and did not like Charlie Kirk. By the way, the suspect, there's no other arrests anticipated. Back here, sorry, hang on a moment. I want to take some comments. I don't have what happened, what they said in the press. Said about what he was doing now. Oops, sorry. Hold on a second here.
Okay, now I see what's happening. Now you should be able to hear me. So someone sent me a message and brought up a good point. So we see him walking towards the university. He's limping, right? They've got this on people's surveillance cameras, doorbell, ring camera, whatever. And he's got a limp, which is presumably his the rifle down. It looks like his right pant leg. Okay, fine. And then afterwards, they see him running through a neighborhood, running, not limping. So he used a rifle on the roof. And then there's video of him jumping off the roof, right? You saw that? But where's the rifle? They say they found it in the woods somewhere nearby, in a woody area, not the woods, in a wooded area nearby, very near the university. But when he jumps off the roof, which is caught on surveillance camera, where's the gun? I don't believe I saw him throw it over and then jump and then pick it up and run. So what happened to the freaking gun when he jumped? But they found it in the woods nearby. But when he jumped, which we all saw, I didn't see anything get thrown over. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Fascist connotations, but I don't know how he's using it. So anyways, look, that's what it was written. I'm not going to start making pronouncements on this stuff without, I don't know all the references. I will say this, though. There's nothing overt. It's not overtly and explicitly supporting.
No, the limp was when he was walking towards the university before it happened. There's a timestamp on that, and it was documented. It was well before it happened.
Making pronunciations on it, but Carl T. Joyful, our viewer, says it's all memes. My sense is that you would need to get the references to get what all this is intended to get at. I'm aware that it says, hey, fascist, but somebody calling somebody a fascist is different than, that is different than what would be commonly held as anti-fascist ideology. There are anti-fascist groups. Someone might think someone is a fascist, but not be affiliated or share beliefs with anti-fascist groups. So when the New York Times, when the report, so yes, it says, hey, fascist catch, but you can, the report that was floating around yesterday was that the writing on the ammunition contained anti-fascist ideology. So I don't, to me, saying, hey, fascist catch, as disturbing that is to read, especially knowing that this person shot and killed Charlie Kirk does not mean that this person was shared belief sets with, say, anti-fascist groups. You know, so I mean, this is not approving of what the person did. Okay, so Evan Hill of the New York Times has something about. I wanna give me 1 second here. Let me pull something up. Hold on. Hang on a moment here. Hang on a moment here. There are the writings. Evan Hill of the he's with the Times, right, Evan? A Washington Post. Evan Hill says the first quote is copy pasta parodying furries. The second is probably a reference to calling in an airstrike in the massively multiplayer online game Helldivers. The third seems to be referring to Bella Ciao, a Italian song dedicated to anti-Nazi partisans. Fourth is just a troll joke. That again is from Evan Hill, who is with the who does open source and visual forensic investigations for the Washington Post. I'm just trying to give you some sort of sense of where these things are coming from. I am not an expert on these references here. Yeah, Arik Toller, who I follow, who is with the New York Times, and he does visual investigation stuff and OSINT stuff. He says, "Hey, fascist catch and the arrows is a Helldivers 2 thing. You can release an airdrop bomb with that button sequence." Is the "Hey Fascist" catch from Helldivers 2 or just the arrows? Helldivers 2 is a video game. He says the button sequence is from Helldivers. Only the arrows, people are saying in our chat. The arrows, that button sequence, our chat and people like Arik Toller are saying, is a button sequence in the game Helldivers 2, where you can, I guess, release a bomb in the game. Our viewer Tegan Williams says the OWO thing is a furry meme, which which I believe Evan Hill said as well. The catch one is self-evident. Oh, Bella Ciao is a World War II reference. Well, I've seen the Bella Ciao thing referred to as referencing different things. Tegan Williams thinks it comes off like a Reddit troll got a gun. Now, also, I don't want to overemphasize the stuff written on the ammunition, because look, we don't know that the ammunition writing is meant as a manifesto, right? This person, it's very possible and maybe likely that this stuff written on the ammunition is not meant to be this summary of the person's beliefs and an explanation of why they did what they did. There's maybe some of it is meant to just be some sort of, trolling or jokes or whatever, however bad taste that may be. So I don't want to overdo the emphasizing of the writing. As the governor said, he expressed strong negative feelings towards Charlie Kirk. And Charlie, that isn't specifically written in here. I mean, there's a hey fascist catch. But my point is that, I don't want us to start saying, well, to understand his motivation, I don't think we can just say, well, let's analyze these memes that were written on the bullets. Hang on a second here. Now, I'm sorry. Michael Ruiz with Fox News Digital says Tyler Robinson attended Utah State University for 1 semester in 2021. Okay, so again, Michael Ruiz of Fox News Digital says Tyler Robinson attended Utah State University for 1 semester. That's different. Hold on a second here. That's not the university where he was killed. He was killed at Utah Valley University. I'm assuming in the coming hours and days we'll start hearing from people who, media will go interview people who know him or knew him. Screen Door Slams, our viewer says, looks like he was very online. The governor today said social media is a cancer on our society right now. Yeah, he was not a student at that school. Our viewer Fern says definitely super online. And I believe there's not supposed. I think at the end of the press conference, the governor said something that there would be a hearing in the coming days, like a court hearing or something. I'm not sure what when his first appearance in court will be. the suspect. And here again is the mugshot. Oops. Was going to be the mugshot. Uh-oh. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Hang on one moment here. Is this going to work? Let's see if this works. Here we go. Barry M says, not a student, but knew how to get access to the roof, not buying it. Oh, a whole other aspect of this is the gun. So he left the gun after. So, we have been talking about this, and a bunch of our viewers have saying, why did he not take the gun with him? So why would he just leave it there? So interestingly, in the press conference, it was said that he messaged his roommate, right? And it sounded like he told the roommate to pick up the gun, right? He gave the roommate the gun, the location of the gun, and wanted the roommate, I think, to retrieve it. If I have that right, I'll try to replay that audio.
As the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson.
Yeah, so it kind of sounded like he wanted the roommate to go pick up the weapon, maybe? That's how I was understanding things. One of our viewers said drop point is the key word there. Yeah, so Mick Funpants said, so the roommate didn't immediately report him to police. That is a good question. So when did the roommate get those messages? I think some of our viewers were saying they thought the roommate might be in trouble, and I think maybe what the viewers were thinking is, well, I mean, did the roommate have messages showing that Tyler Robinson, his roommate, did this, and did he not come forward? But remember, the authority said that no one else, as of right now, that no one else is going to be arrested. They don't anticipate arresting anybody else. But I don't know the specifics here, so I'm not blaming the roommate by any means at all. I'm just saying I don't remember that being said. It's possible the roommate hadn't hadn't read the messages. It's possible the roommate did submit tips. I don't know. But I certainly understand the question. Dancing in the Sand says, who knew his plans beforehand? So, I don't know if there's any evidence that he talked about doing this with anybody beforehand. It's a fair question, and I do not know. They didn't get into that much detail in the press conference about all that. I would not be surprised if more details come out in the coming days, weeks, whatever, about the planning for this.
Hey, I hope you guys don't mind. I'm at work, so if you guys don't mind, I can leave it here and listen to that
Again, I can't remember every word of the
commentary and some of the stuff he brought up, and you guys can discuss that if you're cool with it.
Whether he went over there and did any kind of dry run or anything like that, and practiced for anything, I have no idea. I don't remember it being talked about during the press conference. Uh, 22. I should put that in the headline. He's 22. Give me 1 second here. Give me one moment. One moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of quotes from him coming recently, and saying that. I mean, you have to look at the context of that topic and that question. Saying, just because he's saying is just because there is a death due to guns, that doesn't mean that you eliminate guns. I mean, that unfortunately is the price that we pay for living in a free society and for everyone having, gun rights.
By the way, I do want to thank our moderators. We have
so yeah, just try not to take that out of context. He wasn't. I know people who don't like him necessarily are going to twist that to make it sound really bad. But you have to consider
thank you so much for moderating on Twitch. K. Lowry
the meaning behind it.
There on Facebook. Margaret Riley, thank you. Linda Bell.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of.
And let me just say
there are some conservatives and some real hardcore conservatives that are even talking about. Who should vote, who shouldn't vote. Some people think too many people have the right to vote. I mean, some feel like not enough have the right to vote. Meaning they want to lower the voting age. And I don't think that's necessarily a good idea, especially when you have stuff like this happening. I mean, that tells you clearly people's minds are being twisted at a very young age. So I don't think lowering the voting age is a benefit to anyone, except maybe those who want the voting age lowered for their benefit, not for a good benefit generally, but for a specific benefit.
The guy from the 207, where the TMZ had a video posted yesterday that appears to show the suspect walking toward the.
I mean, he was considered right wing. That's true if you want to call it right wing. I think he was more of a.
It has not been clarified.
He was more conservative than right wing. But That's the
Some
label.
people thought, he was clearly
That's what
limping
people
or
do.
hobbling on the
They give
TMZ.
labels and
Some people
they
think
want to attach a
that,
label to
he
somebody
had a gun in his pants or
so
something.
that
But I don't
certain
believe
people
that.
can be,
I don't believe that was
unfortunately,
confirmed in the press conference. The mechanics of how he brought the gun there,
attributed to that for the rest of their
unless I'm
lives.
forgetting,
And
or unless I missed it.
let's see.
Thanks also to CC on Twitch, by the way, real quick. Miali Music.
Yeah,
More
surely,
than
exactly.
$1
That's what I was saying. There's
super
more.
T.
You got to get to the meaning behind it. It's not just the words on the surface. There's a lot. The whole women voting thing. Yeah, I don't know. If that's true, I don't know. I would disagree that people don't want women to vote. I know that when women were given the right to vote, if you do your research, you will see that women did not want the right to vote. They did not want to vote. You can look that up. I'm not making that one up.
How this was done.
But the Republicans were pushing for women to vote.
But
and
I can't remember.
The women's suffrage,
and I'm gonna see if we have any more.
They did not. They were like, nope,
Look,
no, thank you, leave us out of it.
So
they wanted that left
what
to
made him confess?
the men.
So
and you can look that up. That is a historical fact.
Explain what
that
happened.
People don't know.
Last night.
All right, back to work.
A family member contacted a family friend and said that Tyler Robinson had confessed. So apparently, maybe it was last night, it could have been before last night, but at some time recently, it had to be pretty recent because the shooting was pretty recent, Tyler Robinson confessed. So was he not going to confess and then he decided to confess? But that is a important point of this timeline, is that the being taken into custody, a big precipitating event of that is that he confessed. So I thought that was interesting. Now, I don't know, though. I don't know because there was some reporting suggesting that he confessed after he was confronted about something. Is that what was said? Let me go back here. If I remember right. I thought I read one report that claimed that maybe a family member had seen him and asked him about it or something. I don't see it here. But my point is, he could have confessed if somebody saw the picture and went up to him and said, "Hey, that looks like you. Is that you?" So we don't have all of the play-by-play of how the confession worked. Yeah, we will watch the press conference again. I will show that again shortly. And GSR says he confessed to his dad. The family friend was the minister. Yeah, President Trump did say that the father was involved and a minister was involved. CNN had reported that he confessed to his father. Thanks, by the way, to Sydney and to Snapper. Maybe what I'll do with the press conference is play again. Maybe I'll play again the part from, hold on a second here. Just the part, I mean, I don't have to play. There's the part where the governor talks about social media and stuff. I mean, I can play all of that again if you want, or I can just play the parts. Not that it's not important, but you can go back and watch that. Do people want to see the whole thing again, or do you want to see just the part where it's not the the governor talking about the world situation in social media and just talking about the details of the suspect being taken into custody? I'll see what the chat says. Yeah, I think given what people are saying, I can play the part where the informational part. Maybe I'll replay the informational part about what happened. So the first part with the governor. I'll just play that part again. Now also, hang on a moment here. Now what I'm going to do is do it this way. I got to do this a little differently than I normally do for a technical reason. So if you hang on a second, I'm going to put it on the screen for you right now. But give me a moment here. Let me just get this up here. So I will play the part from where we get the information. Oh, and I'll play the Q&A again, too. I'll do that. I'll play the first part where he gives the information, and then I'll play the Q&A, okay? So what I'm going to do is this. It's a little tricky. Let's see if I can do it this way. It's a little different than I normally have to do it for a technical reason. Sorry about that, but this will be all, it'll be all for the best, I think, if I do it this way. All right, so bear with me here. Again, I'm sorry I'm doing this a little differently than I normally do, but I'm not going to, it's just for a technical reason. So let me just do this. Let me just put that right there. This is going to be the replay. And I'll put this up. It's going to say replay of press conference. Oops, that's not going to work. Oh, it will work. So I know it says live, but this is actually going to be a replay of the press conference. Replay of press conference. And I'm not replaying the whole thing. I'm going to replay the part at the start where the governor speaks and gives the information, and then the Q&A. Now let me just make sure I can make this work. This should work. Right, let's see if this works, if I do it this way. Oops.
To a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage.
I just want to say real quick too, looking at Lola's comment that says, is that even up for debate? Would that women vote? Say, no, it's not. Remember, a lot of times, as President Trump does, who was a master troller, a lot of times they will throw stuff out there just to get the liberal Democrats to go friggin' nuts and put them in a frenzy. So removing the right to vote for women is not in the cards, has never been talked about, it's not going to happen. Obviously, nobody would be behind that. And in the conversation with, I don't know, in a different time, there are microphone.
Okay, so that was the initial information given out by the governor. So I'm going to go, we're replaying this. You can see the whole thing before. He talked, the sheriff comes up, and then Kash Patel came up as well. But I want to get to the Q&A part after the sheriff. And again, if you want to rewatch the whole thing, you can just rewind it. But let me get to the Q&A here. Here it is. So this should be the Q&A right here. I think this is the Q&A. Actually, what came first? The Q&A? Was it the Q&A first, or was it the governor spoke for a while and then it was the Q&A? I think the Q&A is at the end, right? Isn't the Q&A at the end? I think. Because again, we're just going to replay the Q&A and the first part. So if you want to read it here to the right, you can go back. It's at the end, am I right? All right, let me go to the end.
I share often from a friend and author Yuval Levin, who is he said, good things are just going hope and among us that was and make it so.
Oh, here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Please speak to whether the suspect ahead is speaking with authorities and his demeanor, Tyler Robinson, when he turned himself in.
I cannot speak to that right now.
You might not be able to hear it. He was asked if he's speaking to authorities and his demeanor when he was arrested, and he said he couldn't actually address that right now.
I cannot speak to that right now. Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not. And by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. That's I think that speaks for itself.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating.
Please.
Beyond that, is there anything in your view that you discovered that may have radicalized or changed him to prompt him to commit such a horrific?
There's nothing more that we can share at this time. Yeah, please.
In case you couldn't hear the question was there anything you've discovered that might have like radicalized this person to commit this act that they committed? And the governor said, nothing we can share at this time.
There's nothing more that we can share at this time.
Governor,
Yeah,
you
please.
indicated that he had been communicating with a friend on Discord about the gun. Do you anticipate any more arrests?
We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests.
Believe he acted alone?
Yes.
So, that was interesting because the question was about, it sounded, the questioner said, this is a concern some of you were raising, he was communicating to his roommate about the gun. So do you anticipate any other arrests? The response was, we do not have any additional information, I think, that would justify an arrest. So that's basically saying that we don't have evidence that somebody committed a crime. It's not just saying we don't want to arrest somebody, it's that we don't have information. I'll get the exact wording again.
You've been communicating with a friend on Discord about the gun. Do you anticipate any more arrests?
We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests.
Yeah, so I take that as him saying that we don't have evidence that somebody else committed a crime. That's how I'm reading what he said.
Do you believe he acted alone?
Yes. But the investigation is ongoing.
How he came into custody of police and where he is right now, Mr. Robinson?
Yes. So right now, Mr. Robinson has been booked into the Utah County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him in. Please, I'll go here. I can't share any more than what I've already shared. Yeah. So How we obtained the gun? The gun was found here. So I don't have much more details on that. We do know that he drove. We had his car here on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County.
Is he talking with authorities, and did he discuss a motive?
I'm sorry? We don't have any information that would lead us to believe that. Yes, in fact, it was just released. Yes.
Is he talking with authorities, and did he discuss a motive?
I can't answer that right now. Yeah, thank you. Over here. I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history. Yes. The question is, what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history, or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look, I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late 60s, and having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets. We are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral. This is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. That is happening, and it's happening organically right now. I had a friend in a small city in Utah who said, we're getting together, the Republicans and Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this could be, I mean, again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975, but I know that things were really dark in the late 60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there. But this is our moment. Do we escalate, or do we find an off-ramp? And again, it's a choice. It's a choice, and every one of us gets to make that choice. Two more questions right here.
Could we clarify that the release of those enhanced images at 8 p.m., the timeline that Director Patel gave us, led to the arrest at 10 p.m.? Is there a direct connection between those two events?
I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened.
One more thing, Governor. Could you just clarify the clothing issue you mentioned earlier? Was he changing outfits?
Correct. Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Last question here. Yes.
Suspect was from Utah. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about where, and was he a student here at this university, and is there any history of mental illness?
Yeah. So I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here at UVU. He was living and had lived for a long time with his family in Washington County, in the southernmost part of our state. Thank you, everyone, for your great work in getting this information out. I would just say, process-wise, this may be important. I know many of you aren't familiar with the process in Utah. I think it's important that you understand that. Basically, we have 3 days for charging documents to be filed.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I see some of the comments there. You listen to everything. I know, it's state. You know what? Everybody's got different values. And he spoke a lot about family, about marriage, about children, about babies, pro-life, anti-abortion, and a lot of what is considered conservative values. And if you're not a conservative, or your ideas are different, that's okay. That's just how it is. Regardless of what you think about someone, nobody should have been taken that way. Nobody should have been shot to death publicly, as his two children were watching and his wife was watching. They were there and they saw everything happen, akin to JFK, and his wife witnessing everything there.
By the way,
So,
it was said that he changed.
you don't have to agree with everything. I think a lot of what he said about most of what he said, if not all of it, me personally, I agree with. Definitely pro-life. The trans movement, if that's what you want to call it, there's a lot of parts of that which I disagree. I believe there are people going through something difficult. And then I think there are others that are not trans, but trans
put on something over his jeans and black shirt?
Vestite-ish, where all of a sudden, trans has become a cool thing, and it's so.
Yeah, I mean, I'll show you the photos.
Those who are not going through the process, of doing, hormones and things to change their body's chemistry and physically removing parts of their body, or, I mean, who would really wish to change gender, to change sexes, even though it's not physically possible. But if they want to live as the opposite, and they're doing everything that we would consider, well, everything cosmetically possible, psychologically possible, for as much as it's possible. If I had to say, I think those are the real trans people that are really going through it. The ones that sympathize with them or just want to put on lipstick, throw on a wig, put on a dress, and even though they have a beard and they want to walk around and say, I'm a man, I'm going to go to your bathroom. I don't think that's the real trans. That's not real trans, and they don't help the actual people who have issues, mentally, or, body dysmorphia. I think there are people that are really going through it. And I think these college kids putting on dresses and makeup, saying that they're women when they're,
Don't worry about that right now. What I need to do
it's just making a mockery of things. So anyway, again, I'm to the belief that you can live as you want.
Let's do it this way.
In this country, and you should live as you want in any country without being persecuted or being, with the fear of being killed or have violence upon you just because, you feel a certain way or you want to live a certain way. And I have my opinions, but I believe everybody should have their right. If you're an adult, right, do what you want, but leave kids alone, leave people's kids alone. Don't try to sexualize at a young age. Don't try to convince them that they're a different gender when they're young. Kids change by the second. Just because Johnny wants to wear mom's heels one day because he sees her put the heels on and he wants to put them on, that doesn't mean he wants to be a girl. 5-year-old has no idea. 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old has no idea. 10-year-old has no idea. Let them be. Let them be. Let them grow up. Let them be kids. Don't put anything in their heads. And whatever they become, then let them become, and they won't know until they are further grown. Isabel, many people say mental illness is to blame, but the SSRIs that are prescribed are as worse. Yeah, I agree. Are as worse as the original problem. Everyone should be able to speak out of the original problem, not mask it. 100%. This is very true.
So
that is very
at
true.
that
So
point on the road,
believe how you want to believe. Still, nobody has the right to be killed like that in public just because they think differently than you.
hold on.
And if you think about it,
I want to show you without my.
this attack on Charlie Clark could be an attack on anybody. People may be afraid to speak out now, but I think his message is going to backfire, and I think people are going to come out in droves now. This is not going to silence people by all means. It will change things, yes, but it's not going to silence them.
Okay.
So anyway, with that, I will leave it there. I'm gonna go ahead and end this feed, and I'll be back later this evening. We'll talk about it some more. Thank you all who stayed and listened and checked out the press conference and all that. I'm glad they got the guy. So glad.
There we go.
Good job. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of, and I've always said this, I'm not a fan of people patting each other on the back. I'd like to thank. It's like an award ceremony. I'd like to thank, it's like, yeah, okay, do that later. Just talk facts. Tell us what you can. People want to know.
It was said that
pat yourself on the back later.
When he got on the roof.
Right now, it's not a good look. I don't like when they do that.
I thought he did mention.
Really dislike it.
But when were the shorts on?
So, all right.
Because
hey, you guys have a good Friday. It's Friday. Have a good Friday. We will catch you later today. Bye.